What up, everybody? Okay, so in today's lesson tutorial, whatever, we're going to create assets used for far away. So not much detail, just if you want something in the background, not much detail, and you want to create something really quickly, this is my workflow. And obviously these assets aren't meant to be used up close, so there's not much detail, they're just something to slap in the background very quickly. Now look, I like to start off in Maya or Blender, and I like to create like a really basic shape, as you can see right here. Just so I can get a good representation. You don't have to start here. You can start straight in ZBrush or Blender, sculpting tools or whatever. I just like to get a really quick representation. It helps me to see things clearer, and that's kind of how I like to work. But like I said, you could just go straight into ZBrush, start sculpting. Okay, so you can see I just pull out a couple of things, really basic crap. I don't care about the modeling, or I meant the structure, or the what is it called, retopology, nothing like that. It's basic shapes. There we go, and we're done. That's the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. uh, so here we go. I'm just kind of feeling it around, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. It's kind of like a silhouette that I'm working with, just to see a real basic of what this thing can look like, okay, before I take it into a ZBrush or something. And you know, it just makes my life easier if I've got something to work with, like a ridiculously basic shape or whatever. I don't want symmetry, I want it to be old and whatever. So this is kind of my workflow on that. I start in Maya or Blender, and that's it. I take it like that and I export it, save it out, chuck it straight into the big Z. And from here I kind of turn it into, I subdivide it a couple of times, and then I turn it into a, what is that thing called, a Dynamesh. Okay, and once you got into a Dynamesh, then life becomes very simple. Very simple. And you can see I'm using the hook tool here. It's a fantastic tool for this kind of a thing. You can just tool for this kind of thing, and you can just start modeling, start putting things out. Don't go high resolution, go chilled. And once you've got that, starting off very chilled, you don't need to go mad. Then I turn into a Dynamesh. I put the resolution a bit up, as you can see, but work with low resolution, because if you work with low resolution, it makes life easy. Nobody wants to model with a high resolution model. It's way too difficult. Get your shape as a very low res as you can. Okay, then you can start going up in detail. It's fine. You can see here, look how big those polys are. The polys is very biggings, so we keep it like this, and then I just start messing around with the shape. I see, I use the inflate tool there, just to, sometimes things get a little bit too thin, so I can use the inflate tool. If I hold down shift and just drag my left mouse button key and let go, it updates the Dynamesh. So the polys are evenly distributed. So every time my polys get a little too big, I quickly Dynamesh it again. And this allows me to just continue modeling. It just keeps adapting. The more you model, the more it adapts. And that's an awesome way of modeling. So as you can see here, things look terrible, man. Absolutely shocking. But, you can't really destroy things. You can, but you can't really destroy things in ZBrush. You can always fix it. So over here, I'm just dragging things out. I'm starting to get like a bit of a shape. You can see, trying things. That's what it's about. It's about trying things. And the cool thing is you can go ridiculously fast. Very fast. So that's what's cool about this process. Anyway, making it. I don't want it to look too generic. I want it to look kind of old and powerful, a little bit powerful, but nothing too generic. Like most of the forks that I saw online was just a fork. That's it. Just this metal fork. But I didn't kind of want that. I wanted this to be quite organic looking. And you can do that so damn fast in them big Z. Okay? Once again, don't worry if things get too thin or whatever. You can just use inflate, and you can just inflate it all out again. So there we go, man. I start getting a shape that I kind of like. Starts looking quite organic, quite powerful. The fork's a little small, so I just take a, what is that, a hook brush, and just start placing it where I want. That's it. I don't have to be too careful. Honestly, you can just go a little bit mental, and there we go. Now I'm starting to move it in different dimensions, different axes, because I don't want it to be straight. Just a straight fork. It's never great, but because it's a 3D object, you got to look at it in all directions. So it's not kind of crooked on one axis, but then dead straight on another. You got to kind of wing it and look around it, get some cool thing there, thing, and that one thing. But you can see now, this starts to look a little more fishy. Like it's kind of made out of trees or bones or something, some crap. It looks organic. It looks like it has a little bit of a story or a little bit of a life. It's not just this generic fork you see in every picture. And this is what's cool about it. I mean, this entire thing was put together in like 20 minutes or something. Honestly, modeled, textured, the works. And then you can start just playing around with it. Look how cool that is. Start making your brush a little bit smaller and just start dragging cool little things out. If they don't look good, you can always go back. So they're cool. They're cool. And now I get like an inflate brush, make it a bit small, and start making things a little bit thicker. You can see there and there on the side here. Now look, I don't need to make this amazing. It's a background prop, honestly, to be used as a silhouette, in all honesty. But yeah, just keep going with it. And also, when you're dealing with background props, know when to stop, because you never see it. Other works I've spent hours and a day modeling, or texturing boats and things, only to just see the very front of it in a silhouette. I mean, what a waste. I could have put a log there and I would have got the same thing. But be careful. Just know what you want to use the asset for. You don't want to model for 30, 40 years just so that you use the asset in a silhouette or something. In all honesty, you could paint it in Photoshop if you wanted to. But this just helps my 3D figure. And it's nice to have something in the hands so you can pose the hands and stuff. But there we go. It's just something chilled. Oh, then I use this awesome tool, DMM. And what this does is it does fine cuts. And remember, if you hold down Alt, it's the opposite of the brush. So if I do cuts or hold down Alt, then it extrudes it instead of making the cuts. So whatever brush you have, if you hold down Alt, it does the opposite of what it does. Okay, which is awesome good. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking the clay brush here, filling in some gaps. Basically, I use the move, the hook, the clay, the DMM, and the hook. Did I say the hook? I used the hook. And the hook. And that's it. Like, I start putting in little details and stuff. I shouldn't do this, but it's quick. It's just quick and easy. And then, like, the final thing I do is I take the clay brush and I just start adding that little bit of, take away the smoothness of everything. So I just, like you see there, I just start roughing it up a bit, putting in where it should be a little bit thicker, filling in the lines and whatnot, cutting there. Remember, if you hold on Alt, it cuts in. If you don't, it adds a layer. So that's what's nice. Look at this, so quick and easy. You can just add these big details that will look a little bit nicer. If there's a bit of light on this thing or whatever, it's nice to have these kind of big details. So if this is quite far away, you'll still pick up the large details, which is nice. A little bit of light on there, light on something a bit rough and whatever, it always looks really nice. Good. So that's it. All I'm doing is adding the detail, chucking it in, filling in a bit of gaps, using that clay brush, smoothing it. If you hold shift and go over it, it smooths like that. And so adding layers, holding shift, smoothing, adding layers, holding shift, smoothing, cutting into the surfaces, just so that it feels a little organic. If light touches this, it'll feel a little bit better. And obviously texturing after that will help a lot, but nothing fancy, man. It's not a hero asset, so it doesn't need the intention. And that's pretty much all I'm doing here. Uh, and this carries on for a good little bit, and we get the kind of asset that we want. But yeah, like I say, don't spend years on an asset that you're not going to be using close up. Okay, but this is also a nice way of just experimenting. If you're new to ZBrush or whatever, it's a fantastic way of experimenting. And because you're dynameshing, uh, your polygons will always be kind of nicely done. You know, I'm not going to go and retopologize this asset, and it's for a still render. If I was using this for a game, sure, I'd bake out the maps and make a really low res, and then just project the maps onto the low res. But I just want it for a single brute force render. So I don't care the poly amount. Obviously, I don't want 30, 40 million in this thing. But if it's like 40, 50,000, whatever, I don't care. It's not a big deal. And that's it. Honestly, you can see how it starts to look now, just defining some of the things using that beautiful clay brush. And that's it. I go through the whole thing really quickly, and I just add that roughness. Mess around with a couple of things. You know, the shape isn't perfect, obviously, but it's not going to be seen a lot, so it doesn't matter. There's a big difference between hero assets and background assets. And the background assets, you need to concentrate that they look good in the background. And that's a great thing to look at silhouettes for assets. You can see how they would look far away. And you can see in ZBrush on the top left hand side, they give you that silhouette. So you can kind of see how it would look way back in the background as a silhouette or something. But there you go. I mean, look what it looks like a little bit further back. It looks kind of organic. Look, nothing amazing, let's be honest, but an asset for a quick time. Pretty cute. Okay, something used in the back. Doesn't look generic, looks original. Then I bring into, one last thing is I create a quick UV in ZBrush. Once I do that, I export the asset, bring it in here, Painter, bake all the maps, and then I just start using smart materials, literally layering materials on top of each other, base materials and whatever. I got this nice material off the shop, which is, what is that stuff called? Barnacles. You get them barnacles, don't they? Change a couple of colors. I like the way that it cracks up the bottom of there and the top, so I kind of left it. I play around a little bit, but actually, damn, it actually worked out pretty cool. Changed the colors of it, you know. And that's it. Once I got that, I started messing a little bit around with a couple of others. Looked for like an emissive material. I quite like this. This was cool, but I kind of took off everything off of it. I used a triplanar projection on it, and that's it. I took a couple of things away, tried a few things, because I wanted something emissive in it, but actually I ended up taking that off because it just wasn't fitting. I think I left something very subtle on it, something like this, so it could glow in the background or something, but I didn't quite get what I wanted, and that was okay. That was okay. Like I said, it's a background asset. I thought, let's just make it chill kind of a thing. But that's it. Once you've done that, bring it into Substance or Mixer. Mixer's completely free, and honestly does exactly what this does. So don't be afraid to use Mixer. It's absolutely awesome. Anyway, I added a little bit of color to this thing, a little bit of green. And this was off that emissive layer. I put the color back on and just deadened it a lot, but I just wanted like these tinges so you could see a little bit of what was happening. And after that, honestly, that was pretty much. Changed a couple of colors, tested a few little things, but for a background asset, done in not long at all, what I say, like 40 minutes or something, it was under that. It was a lot quicker than that. And you can get some very interesting kind of things out very quickly using the Big Z. You don't need to do the blender and the Maya phase in the beginning. If you're confident, just jump into ZBrush and just start sculpting. Once you got that sculpt, Dynamesh it, get whatever. If you want, retopologize it really quickly, automatically done. Make your UVs, and that's it. Over here, I just added like a little bit of a rock thing to it, so I get those nice cracks and bumps on it. And that's it. That's pretty much the asset. It's garbage, but for something to be used in the background or whatever, this is just a process of how quick you can make quick assets for use in the background. I would never use something like this in the foreground because it's ugly, but it's more the mindset or the workflow of doing a very quick asset. Anyway, render out its maps, all good. Check it out, and that's it. You're done. You can go into any program of your choice, hook up the maps, bring in the model, and you've got a new asset. And that is pretty cool. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll add the asset in the description in case you want to use it for reference or anything. It's not a great asset, but maybe you just need it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.